Dr. Elizabeth Harmon didn't look up from her podium when she said it. "I'm sorry, but this session is for registered participants only." The conference hall went quiet. 200 mathematicians, most wearing lanyards thick with credentials, turned in their seats. At the back of the room, near the double doors, stood a 10-year-old black girl in a wrinkled button-down shirt that was too big for her. Her name was Amara Wright. She held a backpack with both hands. "I registered," she said. Her voice didn't carry well. Someone in the third row leaned forward to hear her. Dr. Harmon glanced up, finally. Her expression was the kind you'd give someone who'd walked into the wrong building. "This is the International Symposium on Computational Number Theory. Did your parents drop you off at the wrong conference room?" A few people smiled, not meanly, just uncomfortable. Amara didn't move. "I'm here for the Erdős Conjecture panel." Dr. Harmon's smile tightened. She looked toward the registration desk near the entrance, then back at Amara. "Sweetheart, this material is graduate level. I'm sure there's a youth science fair somewhere in the building." I submitted a proof. The room got quieter. Dr. Harmon blinked. "You submitted a what?" "A proof to the Symposium Journal 3 months ago." She stared at her for a long moment. Then she turned to the man seated beside her on the panel, Dr. Raymond Coe, Stanford, gray beard, horn-rimmed glasses. He was already pulling out his phone. "Let her sit," someone muttered from the audience, a woman in the second row. Dr. Harmon hesitated, then gestured vaguely toward the back. "Fine, but please don't disrupt the session." Amara sat down in the last row. She unzipped her backpack and pulled out a battered notebook, the kind with a marble cover that costs 99 cents. She opened it on her lap and didn't look up again. If you think this is shocking already, wait until you hear the twist. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss it. What Dr. Harmon didn't know, what no one in that room knew, was that Amara Wright had spent the last 14 months working on a problem that had remained unsolved for 63 years. Not in a lab. Not with a team. In the basement of a public library in Riverside, California, using computers that shut down after 2 hours and required a library card to restart. The Erdős conjecture wasn't famous outside of pure mathematics, but inside the field it was a graveyard. Dozens of researchers had attempted solutions. Some had published partial progress. Most had published nothing at all. The problem dealt with prime gaps, the spaces between prime numbers, and whether certain patterns in those gaps could be predicted under specific constraints. Amara had first read about it in a used textbook she'd found in a discount bin. The book was from 1991. Someone had spilled coffee on the cover. Inside, in the margins of Chapter 12, a previous owner had scrawled, "Still unsolved, probably impossible." She'd started working on it the next day. No one told her to, no teacher assigned it. Her mother didn't know what a conjecture was. She worked 2 jobs, one at a grocery store, one cleaning offices at night. Her father wasn't around. They lived in a 1-bedroom apartment where the air conditioner only worked if you hit it on the side. Amara taught herself number theory from library books and free college lecture videos on YouTube. She filled notebooks with failed attempts, hundreds of pages. When she got stuck, she'd start over. When she ran out of notebook paper, she used the backs of junk mail. She didn't think she was special. She just didn't know when to stop. Dr. Harmon clicked to the next slide. As most of you know, the Erdős conjecture remains one of the most stubborn problems in analytic number theory. Despite progress in sieve theory and probabilistic models, we've yet to achieve a proof that satisfies the boundary conditions in all cases. She spoke for 11 minutes. Her presentation was polished. The slides were clean. She cited 4 recent papers, including one she'd co-authored. Then she opened the floor for questions. A man in the 5th row raised his hand. "Have you considered applying the Chen-Wang inequality to the secondary interval?" Dr. Harmon nodded. "We tried that in 2019. It collapses under the divergence condition." Another hand. "What about modularity constraints?" "Same issue, you lose uniformity." The questions continued for a few minutes, technical and dense. Amara sat in the back and said nothing. She didn't raise her hand, she just listened. Then Dr. Harmon said something that made her look up. "Ultimately, we believe the conjecture may be unprovable with current methods. It's possible we're asking the wrong question entirely." Amara's pen stopped moving. She continued. In fact, I'd argue that anyone claiming to have solved this problem in the last decade is either working with a flawed framework or doesn't fully understand the constraints. She smiled when she said it, not cruelly, just confidently. Amara raised her hand. Dr. Harmon didn't see her at first. She was looking at her notes. Someone in the front row turned and pointed toward the back. She looked up. Yes. Amara stood, her voice was steadier this time. You said the Chen-Wang inequality collapses under the divergence condition. That's correct. But only if you're applying it to the full interval. Dr. Harmon frowned. I'm sorry. If you partition the interval first using a logarithmic sieve, the inequality holds. You don't lose uniformity, you just lose symmetry, which doesn't matter for the conjecture. The room went still. Dr. Harmon stared at her. Where did you read that? I didn't read it, Amara said quietly. I tested it. Dr. Raymond Coe leaned toward his microphone. His voice was dry, clinical. That's a bold claim. Do you have your work with you? Amara nodded. She reached into her backpack and pulled out the notebook. If this part has you on edge, hit the like button right now. It lets us know you want more stories like this. Dr. Harmon stepped down from the podium. She walked up the aisle toward her, heels clicking on the tile. Dr. Coe followed. The audience shifted in their seats, craning to see. Amara handed her the notebook. She opened it, her eyes moved across the first page, then the second. She flipped faster, her expression didn't change but her jaw tightened. Dr. Coe looked over her shoulder. He pointed to something on page 9. That substitution doesn't work. It does if you reindex, Amara said. You can't reindex there, you'll violate the boundary. Not if you shift the boundary by half an integer. Dr. Coe stared at her. That's not standard. It doesn't have to be standard, Amara said, it just has to be consistent. Dr. Harmon closed the notebook. She didn't hand it back. This is impressive work for someone your age. She said slowly, but you're missing several steps and some of your notation is unconventional. It's complete, Amara said. I'm sure it feels complete to you. I checked it 47 times. She smiled, but it wasn't warm anymore. Mathematics isn't about effort, it's about rigor, and rigor requires formal training, peer review, and verification by people who have spent decades in this field. She held up the notebook. This is interesting, but it's not a proof. Amara looked at her, her hands were shaking but her voice wasn't. Then show me where I'm wrong. Dr. Harmon's smile faded. Dr. Coe stepped forward. Listen, young lady, we appreciate your enthusiasm, but this is a professional setting. If you'd like feedback on your work, I'd suggest reaching out to a university mentor or submitting it through proper academic channels. This isn't the place for. I did submit it, Amara interrupted, 3 months ago to this symposium to Dr. Harmon. Dr. Harmon's face went blank. Dr. Coe turned to her. Elizabeth. She didn't answer immediately. She looked down at the notebook again, then at Amara, then toward the registration desk. I receive dozens of unsolicited submissions every month, she said, voice flat. Most of them are not viable. Did you read mine? Amara asked. She didn't answer. The room was completely silent now. Dr. Coe cleared his throat. Perhaps we should continue this conversation privately. I don't want to talk privately, Amara said. Her voice was louder now, but not angry, just clear. You said anyone claiming to solve this problem doesn't understand the constraints. I understand them. I spent 14 months understanding them. Dr. Harmon's expression hardened. You're 10 years old. That doesn't make me wrong. She stared at her for a long moment. Then she turned to Dr. Coe and spoke quietly, but not quietly enough. We need to move on. This is disrupting the schedule. Dr. Coe nodded. He looked back at Amara and for just a second there was something in his eyes, not pity but something close to it. We'll review your work after the session, I promise. He didn't sound like he meant it. Dr. Harmon handed the notebook back to Amara. Thank you for sharing, she said and turned toward the podium. Amara stood there holding the notebook, her face flushed. The audience was still watching. Dr. Harmon clicked to the next slide. Now, as I was saying. Wait. The voice came from the front row. A woman in her 60s, silver hair pulled back, wearing a name tag that read Dr. Yuki Tanaka, MIT. She stood. I'd like to see the work. Dr. Harmon stopped mid-sentence. Dr. Tanaka walked toward the back of the room. She didn't ask permission, she just walked. Amara handed her the notebook. She opened it, flipped a page, read again. The room held its breath. After 2 full minutes, Dr. Tanaka looked up. Her face was unreadable. She turned to Dr. Harmon. Elizabeth, she said quietly, I think you should see this. Dr. Harmon didn't move at first. She stood at the podium, one hand still on the laptop, the projector casting a blue glow across her face. Behind her, the slide about probabilistic models hung in the air, forgotten. Dr. Tanaka was still holding the notebook. Elizabeth, she said again, softer this time. Dr. Harmon walked back up the aisle, slowly. Her heels didn't click as loudly now. She stopped beside Dr. Tanaka and looked down at the open pages. Dr. Ko joined them. The 3 of them stood in a half-circle around Amara, who had sat back down. Her hands were folded on her lap. She wasn't looking at them, she was looking at the floor. Dr. Tanaka pointed to something on page 14. This transformation here, how did you know to apply it? Amara didn't look up. It's the only way to preserve the asymptotic behavior without losing the prime distribution. But this method, Dr. Ko leaned in closer, this isn't in any textbook. I know. Then where did you? I tried everything else first, Amara said quietly. Nothing worked, so I made something new. Dr. Tanaka turned another page, then another. Her finger traced a line of equations. She stopped. Her eyes narrowed. She flipped back 3 pages, then forward again. My God, she whispered. Dr. Harmon looked at her. What? Dr. Tanaka didn't answer. She walked toward the front of the room, still holding the notebook, and sat down in the first row. She pulled a pen from her jacket and started writing on the back of her conference program. The audience watched in silence. Dr. Ko moved closer to Amara. His voice was lower now, almost gentle. Young lady, I need you to understand something. Even if your approach is novel, that doesn't mean it's sound. There are verification standards, peer review processes. You can't just... I can show you, Amara said. Show us what? Every step on the board. Dr. Ko hesitated. He glanced at Dr. Harmon. She was still standing in the aisle, arms crossed, watching Dr. Tanaka. That's not necessary, Dr. Harmon said. I think it is, Dr. Tanaka said without looking up. Dr. Harmon's jaw tightened. Yuki, we have a schedule. I don't care about the schedule. Dr. Tanaka finally looked up. Her voice was calm but firm. If this child has done what I think she's done, then nothing else on that schedule matters. The room erupted in whispers. Dr. Harmon's face flushed. You can't possibly believe. Let her show us. Dr. Tanaka stood. She handed the notebook back to Amara and gestured toward the whiteboard at the front of the room. Go ahead. Amara stood. She walked to the front, past 200 faces, past Dr. Harmon, past the podium. She picked up a dry erase marker from the tray beneath the board. Her hand was shaking. She uncapped the marker. And then she stopped. The room waited. Amara stared at the blank whiteboard. The marker hovered an inch from the surface. Her breathing was shallow. Her shoulders rose and fell. She didn't write anything. 10 seconds passed. Then 20. Someone coughed. Dr. Harmon took a step forward. It's all right, she said, and her voice was softer now, almost kind. You don't have to do this. Amara didn't turn around. I'm not scared, she said. Then what's wrong? She lowered the marker. Her voice was so quiet that people in the back rows leaned forward to hear her. What if I'm wrong? The room went still. What if I missed something? What if I wasted everyone's time? Dr. Tanaka stood. She walked to the front and stood beside her. She didn't touch her, she just stood there. Amara, she said gently, do you believe your proof is correct? She nodded. Then show us. She looked at her. Her eyes were wet, but she wasn't crying, not quite. What if you don't believe me? Then we'll tell you where you went wrong, she said, and you'll learn something. Either way, you'll be fine. Amara looked back at the board. She raised the marker again. And this time she started writing. She worked in silence. No explanations, no commentary, just equations line by line filling the board from left to right. When she ran out of space, she erased the top section and kept going. Her handwriting was small and careful. Dr. Tanaka watched, Dr. Ko watched, Dr. Harmon stood off to the side, arms still crossed. After 5 minutes, someone in the audience raised a hand. Can you explain the substitution in line 4? Amara paused, she turned around. Which part? Why did you replace the logarithmic integral with a segmented sum? Because the integral diverges past the threshold, Amara said. If you segment it, you can isolate the divergence and factor it out. The man nodded slowly. That's actually elegant. Amara turned back to the board. She kept writing. Another 10 minutes passed. The board was nearly full now, covered in symbols and proofs and transformations. Dr. Ko had pulled out his phone and was typing notes. Dr. Tanaka was still standing, but she'd taken out her own notebook and was copying parts of the board. Dr. Harmon hadn't moved. When Amara finally stepped back, the board was complete. She capped the marker and set it down. That's it, she said. Dr. Ko stared at the board. He walked closer, scanning the lines. He pointed to the bottom right corner. This bound here, it should fail when n exceeds the critical limit. It would, Amara said, but I shifted the bound by epsilon. It's in line 18. Dr. Ko looked at line 18. His face went blank. That's brilliant. Dr. Tanaka was smiling now, not a big smile, just a small one at the corner of her mouth. Elizabeth, she said, you need to see this. Dr. Harmon finally stepped forward. She stood in front of the board, reading from top to bottom. Her eyes moved slowly. She didn't say anything, she just read. The room was silent. After what felt like forever, she turned to Amara. Where did you learn to do this? I taught myself. That's not possible. It's what happened. Dr. Harmon looked back at the board. Her expression was unreadable. Even if this is correct, and I'm not conceding that it is, you still bypassed every standard protocol. You didn't work with a supervisor, you didn't submit through proper channels, you didn't even use formal notation. I didn't know the formal notation, Amara said. Exactly, Dr. Harmon's voice was sharper now. You don't have the training, you don't have the foundation, you got lucky. Amara looked at her. I didn't get lucky, she said quietly. I worked every day for 14 months, I failed hundreds of times, I started over when I got stuck. I learned everything I could from books and videos and papers I didn't fully understand. I didn't have a lab or a team or a university. I had a library card and a notebook. She paused. You didn't read my submission, she said. You didn't even open it. Dr. Harmon's face went pale. You decided I didn't belong before you ever looked at my work, not because I was wrong, because I was 10. The room was dead silent. Dr. Harmon opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked at Dr. Ko, then at Dr. Tanaka, then back at Amara. I receive hundreds of submissions, she said, but her voice had lost its edge. I can't read all of them. You don't have to read all of them, Amara said, just the ones that might be right. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward. She looked at Dr. Harmon, and when she spoke, her voice was calm but firm. She's correct, Elizabeth, the proof is sound. I'd stake my reputation on it. Dr. Ko nodded slowly. I agree, it'll need formal verification, but the logic holds. Dr. Harmon stared at the board for a long time. Then she turned to Amara. I'm sorry, she said. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was real. You deserved better than that. Amara didn't say anything, she just nodded. Dr. Tanaka addressed the room. I'm going to recommend this proof be fast-tracked for publication in the * Journal of Analytic Number Theory *, co-authored with full attribution to Amara Wright. Someone in the audience started clapping. Then someone else. Then the whole room. Amara stood at the front beside the whiteboard covered in her work, and she didn't smile. She just stood there, hands at her sides, and let the sound wash over her. After the session ended, Dr. Tanaka sat with Amara in the hallway outside the conference room. She bought her a soda from the vending machine. She didn't drink it, she just held it. What happens now? She asked. Now we verify your work formally. It'll take a few months, but if it holds, and I believe it will, you'll be published, cited, recognized. Will people believe me? Some will, some won't, that's how it works, she paused, but the ones who matter will. Amara looked down at the soda can. I just wanted to solve it, she said quietly. I didn't think anyone would care. They care, Dr. Tanaka said, not because you're 10, because you were right. 3 months later, the proof was published. It was verified by 4 independent reviewers. The solution was correct. Amara Wright became the youngest person ever to solve an open problem in analytic number theory. But that wasn't the part that mattered. What mattered was that Dr. Harmon changed her submission review process. She started reading unsolicited work more carefully. She created a mentorship program for young mathematicians without institutional access. What mattered was that Amara kept working, not for recognition, just because she loved it. What mattered was that a 10-year-old black girl in a library basement proved something the world had forgotten. That brilliance doesn't wait for permission. Sometimes the most important thing someone proves isn't that they were right, but that they deserve to be heard. Has there ever been a time when someone underestimated you, and you had to